In the current year of our Lord, manipulation isn't just some fairy tale that happens to imaginary damsels in distress in our exaggerated silver screens just for us to feel bad about. It's a weapon, and just like any other weapon, you have to be mindful of the potential danger that any unsuspecting individual could pose with it, and God forbid, in the worst case scenario, you have to be prepared to use it in a self-defense scenario. Gaslighting, crocodile tears, feigning fear, everything's fair game to everyone. And in this landscape, one of the chief tools we have for manipulation is logical fallacies, one of the best weapons we have in our arsenal. Even though it has a name, fallacy, makes you think maybe you can take this apart, your everyday interlocutor just isn't going to have the requisite skill to just deflect you and make it useless. In fact, most people struggle with these, which is why they have a name for it and everything. If you're dealing with gold level and below debaters, this is pretty sure to get you somewhere in the argument. But these fallacies aren't just noob stomper traps either, because you gotta remember, we can combo these, we can use misdirections, we can use anything, because ain't no ref telling us, hey, you can't do that, as long as you get away with it, you're good. But not every logical fallacy is created equal. There's a lot of them, and some of them just don't really work. So today, I'm going to be ranking the top 5 logical fallacies you need to be used when you're manipulating your friends, your family, whoever. Starting off with number 5, ad hominem. Now, ad hominem, this is just all reliable. All you gotta do, whatever they say to you, it doesn't matter. Just insult them. And oftentimes, that'll get them rustled a little bit. They'll be like, oh, what are you insulting me for? Like, they might have said something invalid, but now that you've insulted their character, they're like, oh my god, is something wrong with me? Their argument is going to leave their head. And now, they're going to argue against you about what you just said about them. First of all, excellent deflection. It gets you away from the problem. This is what we're looking for. Getting away from the problem and sidestepping it to go to something completely unrelated. This is one of the reasons why I think ad hominem is just one of the top logical fallacies out here. But also, very important, in a group, you are discrediting your opponent. When you discredit your opponent, no matter what they say, you're not going to side with the guy who's been depicted as an unattractive drawing, are you? And making your opponent look ridiculous, especially in front of a crowd, is something that many people, even high-ranking debaters, can't overcome very easily. So applied correctly, ad hominem can effectively be a death knell. But I don't want to act like this is the end-all be-all. It's not without its faults. You have to be especially effective in your insult when you're using ad hominem, or else you just risk the impact not being there, and then when the impact's not there, it ends up falling flat, people question why you're even doing it, and even worse, you open yourself up to ad hominem counterattacks, and if those ones hit, it could be catastrophic and ruin your entire thing before it even got started. For this reason though, it's very limited amongst more important targets that you're trying to go for, like a partner, or a friend, or a family member. It won't really work as well against them because they know you better, they'll be able to counterattack you better. At times, it kind of functions as a soft knowledge check more than a real move, but you can use it even if they are familiar with you, if you can counter them well enough. Still, taking into account the matchup spread, the risk reward, and just the bad combo routes you get after ad hominem, I can't really put it in the elite tier. But don't get me wrong, despite all the faults I've listed, it's still a very strong, supremely capable fallacy and has earned its spot at number 5. Number 4 is going to be the false dilemma or the false dichotomy, depending on which dialect you're speaking. Here is actually a funny case because it's honestly the complete opposite of ad hominem, where you're only attacking what they've said. So again, it's not great at the other thing, but it's pretty specialized for what we're doing here. Now what we're doing here is what you've said and what they've said are the only 2 options that exist. And all you have to do here is now make their option sound as bad as possible and your option sound as good as possible. And now there's one good option and one bad option. This is the crux of what makes a dilemma work. Just convince your victim that the emotional labor of even suggesting that their option makes any kind of logical sense is straining you. Now, like most of the other fallacies that are going to be on this list, this one does fine by itself, but it's really good when you pair it with some kind of emotional manipulation. primarily because of the emotional labor I was talking about that just flows really easily into stuff like look what you're making me do and the like. And this is the combo ability that I was talking about. Unlike ad hominem, here we can add various things to it. It's a great setup piece for when you're really skilled with the emotional manipulation but you don't know how to get to a good starting point. And I suggest you try to find the combo that works best for you. That goes for all the ones above this too. Great fallacy. I think 4 is a great spot for it. Now up next is number 3. Appeal to emotion, or just making your opponent feel bad. Now this one is really more of a matchup pick than anything else on this board, but I have it at 3 just because it's so good at just destroying the matchup. So if it's like strangers, maybe in sympathetic strangers, stuff like that, it's alright. But for your friends, your close loved ones, your kids, whatever, this is food. Barbecue chicken, 10 out of 10 every time. You're averaging 40 with this. For example, let's say you're an unemployed bum who mooches off your girlfriend every once in a while. This time, she brings up how whenever you're there, you stay there multiple nights, but you never do anything around the house, and you make her do everything. Here's a prime opportunity to pull out appeal to emotion. There's even multiple angles of attack here. You can go the sad route, going, oh, does my presence here bother you or something? Or you can put yourselves on equal ground to say, oh, you know, I'm tired too, you're just not seeing what I'm doing. Or the third one, and this is the one that usually works the best, the guilt route. Just point to any adversity you experienced in like the past year or so and just use it as an excuse, i.e., you know I sprained my pinky 2 months ago, or you know cleaning is very traumatic for me. You know, something of that nature. Anything from the past that just gets you out of it scot-free. It's great for getting somebody off your back, but it's also more versatile than that, or it wouldn't be number 3 on this list. Here, we do see a bit of combo ability, unlike ad hominem. Now, let me explain that really quick. Here, in this example, we not only have a false dilemma, but we package it with an emotional tint along with the classic "so you want me to die" variant, and then we turn this rather mundane logical fallacy into something that's much more potent and works great on your loved ones. But as it's kind of limited by matchup, I can't put it any higher than 3. Now, number 2, this one's gonna be a real doozy. Any variant of show me an example, tell me when I did this. Now, the formal name of this, if you want to look it up, is appeal to ignorance. But honestly, I think if I use too many actual fallacy names, YouTube will mark this as an educational video for kids, and I'll be spreading manipulation tactics exclusively to 7-year-olds. And while it's good to start off young, I kind of want this to reach everybody in the audience. But putting that aside, this is one of the greatest counter moves ever devised, because anybody accuses you of anything, all you have to do is just say, tell me 5 times I've done that. Now, of course, unless they have literally prepared a written dissertation of exactly what you did wrong, they're not going to have 5 examples of what you did lying in your head. That's ridiculous. So you can use their hesitation or their inability to even say anything. Just go like, well, you can't even name 5 examples. So it doesn't exist. Now, there may be some criticism here saying that it's just a defensive move. You can't really use it for offense that well. And to that, I'd say, name 5 times it hasn't worked. Yeah, gotcha, dumbass. See how it works really easy? Easiest technique to use in the world. Just to throw it, whether it's going offense or defense, it really does not matter. Now, don't spam it, because eventually they're going to get hit to you. But if you moderate it, this shit'll stun them right to a combo. It works as a defense for almost anything. And for that, I gotta say, it's versatile in a different way, but it's one of the most versatile ones out here. So it earns its spot at number 2. But number 1, this one is the end-all be-all of fallacies. The straw man. Now, if you don't know what a straw man is, basically, you take something somebody said, make it sound way worse, and then push it right back at them and say, you said this, didn't you? And just by doing that, you put them in a 2-pronged situation. 1, you make your opponent look ridiculous. And 2, you're making them argue against themselves. Now, if they accept what you said as their argument, now their argument becomes nigh unwinnable because you made them sound ridiculous. And then, if they say, that's not what I said, that's a straw man, if they point it out, all you have to do is say, well, that's what you sound like. On top of that, they trap you in the situation where unless they are very experienced, they can't get out of that. And even if they can, you can combo this. Let me give you an example dialogue. Let's say someone says, I happen to like waffles. And you just have a problem with them. You just hate them for no reason. So you say, oh, you hate pancakes. Straw man right there. And then they go, understandably, that's not what I said. Now they denied it, and then we add a bit of a slippery slope, and then here we go. You can go, oh, well, if you say you like waffles, that means your love for waffles will outweigh your love of every other batter-related food, and it gets to a point where I can just feel the hatred you have for pancakes. Now that sounds completely fucking ridiculous, obviously. But what are they gonna say to that? They have no clue. And this is just one of the many ways you can use a straw man to just confound your opponent, make them sound ridiculous, and make everybody else watching go, yes, this guy has on to something. So out of all the logical fallacies, I recommend straw man to everybody. You got to get better at this. It's got a good skill floor, but it has a very high skill ceiling. So I think this is number one manipulation tactic. Now, as I end this video, I want to just put a disclaimer here. These are strictly for awareness. I am not advising any of you to use this to manipulate anybody. I am simply just informing you guys of the meta so that you may be aware of manipulation. Now, what you do with this information is entirely your own decision. I'm not in control of it. I just told you what to do, and I take no liability for any manipulation that happens as a result of my video. That being said, good luck on whatever you do or don't do after this video.